Welcome back to Learn English with sunda-ish. Welcome to Learn English with sunda-ish. Dive deeper into the richness of English language. Let's get started. Do you want to make new friends in English-speaking countries but struggle with the right words to say? This is a common predicament for many people around the globe. You see, making friends isn't just about shared interests or mutual hobbies. It's about communication, understanding, and, most importantly, language. In English-speaking countries, the challenge of making friends often lies in mastering the right vocabulary and phrases. It's not enough to know English at a basic level. You need to be familiar with the colloquial language, the slang, the idioms that pepper everyday conversations. These linguistic nuances can mean the difference between fitting in and standing out, between creating connections and causing confusion. Language learners often face a multitude of problems. For starters, there's the issue of pronunciation. English is a notoriously tricky language with its silent letters and irregularities. Then, you have to navigate cultural differences, which can be as subtle as the difference between American and British English, or as vast as the difference between Western and Eastern societal norms. Moreover, it's not just about saying the right words, but also understanding the ones coming your way. A common problem for language learners is the speed at which native speakers talk. When conversations become a blur of sounds and words, it can be daunting to join in, or even just to follow along. Another challenge is the fear of making mistakes. It's natural to worry about saying something embarrassing or incorrect, but remember, everyone makes mistakes, especially when learning a new language. It's part of the process, a stepping stone towards fluency. So the question is, how can you overcome these language barriers and make new friends with ease? The answer lies in equipping yourself with the right tools, a good understanding of English vocabulary and phrases, a willingness to learn, and a dash of courage. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of English conversation, providing you with some handy tips and tricks to help you navigate your linguistic journey. Overcoming language barriers starts with expanding your vocabulary. Here are some easy steps to do that. Language is the bridge that connects us with the world, and vocabulary forms the pillars of that bridge. It's not just about knowing the words, but understanding their nuances, the context in which they're used, and how they can shape our conversations. Let's dive in and explore some of the most commonly used words in casual conversations in English-speaking countries. These are words that you'll hear often. Words like cool, awesome, great, interesting, definitely, probably, actually, and seriously. These are words that add color and emotion to a conversation. Words that help us express approval, surprise, agreement, and even skepticism. Take the word cool, for instance. It's a versatile word that can express approval, interest, or even indifference, depending on the context and tone. If someone tells you about their weekend plans and you respond with a cool, it can mean that you find their plans interesting. On the other hand, if you respond to a mundane piece of information with a cool, it can come across as a polite way of showing indifference. Now let's look at awesome. This is a word that expresses a higher degree of approval or admiration. If someone shares a personal achievement with you and you respond with an awesome, it conveys your admiration for their achievement. Great is another word that's often used to express approval or satisfaction. If you had a good meal, you can say that it was great. If you enjoyed a movie, you can say that it was great. These are just a few examples of how these words can be used in conversations. The key is to listen to how native English speakers use these words and practice using them in your own conversations. With these words in your arsenal, you're one step closer to making new friends in English-speaking countries. It's not just about the words, but how you use them. Let's explore some common English phrases. Now that we've dipped our toes into the pool of vocabulary, it's time to dive deeper into the sea of phrases. You see, phrases are the building blocks of conversations. They are groups of words that work together to convey a particular meaning. Understanding and using common phrases can be the difference between sounding like a textbook and sounding like a native speaker. Let's look at a few examples. Take the phrase, "How's it going?" This is a casual way to ask someone how they are or what's happening in their life. It's a great conversation starter, especially when meeting someone new. Or consider the phrase, "Long time no see." This is a playful way to acknowledge that it's been a while since you last met someone. It's a perfect phrase to use when you bump into an old friend. Then there's "What's up?" This is another casual greeting similar to "How's it going?" It's not a literal question about what's above you, but rather an inquiry into what you're doing or how you're feeling. And let's not forget, "Nice to meet you." This is a polite phrase used when you're introduced to someone for the first time. It shows respect and a willingness to get to know the other person. Now, remember, the key to using these phrases effectively is to understand the context. You wouldn't want to say, "Long time no see" to someone you just met, right? Also, it's important to note that these phrases are informal and best used in casual conversations. If you're in a formal setting, you might want to stick to more traditional greetings like "Good morning" or "How do you do?" Arming yourself with these phrases is like packing a conversational toolkit. You'll have the right tool for every situation, from casual chats to formal introductions. Armed with these phrases, you're ready to start conversations with confidence. Now that you have the vocabulary and phrases, it's time to put them into practice. Imagine you've just stepped off a plane in an English-speaking country. The air is buzzing with new sounds, sights, and experiences. You're in a cafe and you overhear someone talking about a topic you're passionate about. This is your chance to make a new friend. Use the phrases you've learned like, "That's interesting. I have a similar interest in," or "I couldn't help but overhear. I'm also a fan of." Remember, the goal is not to sound like a textbook, but to engage in a genuine conversation. Let's take another scenario. You're at a local event, and you spot someone who seems to be alone. This could be an opportunity to use the vocabulary you've learned. Approach them casually and say something like, "This is a great event, isn't it?" Or, "Have you been to one of these before?" The key is to keep it casual and friendly, and to show genuine interest in their response. Now, imagine you're in a bookstore and you see someone browsing through your favorite genre. You could start a conversation by saying, "I see you're into mysteries. Have you read the latest from..." Or, "That's a great book you're holding. I couldn't put it down when I read it." This way, you're not only starting a conversation, but you're also sharing a common interest. These are just a few examples of how you can apply what you've learned. The most important thing to remember is to practice. Practice makes perfect. And the more you use these words and phrases, the more comfortable you'll become. Remember, making new friends in English-speaking countries is not as daunting as it seems. With the right words and phrases, you're well on your way to expanding your social circle. And don't forget to subscribe to Learn English with Sunda-ish for more language learning tips and tricks.